Remember all the fun and joy of your favorite game or childhood toy. If only you could feel that way again. Well, you don't have to go back in time, 'cause Nick and friends can help you find long lost treasures you once loved. Let's go hunting nostalgia.
Welcome to Hunting Nostalgia. Wow, this bell came from the St. Joseph Church Tower from 1888. How cool is that? Today, I'm in my wife's hometown of Mt.Pleasant, Pennsylvania. She always tells me Mount Pleasant is awesome. Mount Pleasant is so historic. It's just as cool as Mars, Pennsylvania. Now, being a Mars boy myself, I never believed her, but she was right. This town appreciates their history so much, they created their very own Monopoly game. Look at that. That is so cool. This was actually made by the Historical Society. So neat. And right here on the Monopoly game is my great grandfather-in-law, Philip Benedict, the Benedetto family. So the history is just running deep in Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. So this house right here was the first house in Mount Pleasant, but it was hidden. It was actually the kitchen of the house that was then built up around it. And the father, later the grandfather, then the great-grandfather used to tell his family, don't tear down the house. Never tear down the house. It was the first home in Mount Pleasant. Don't tear down this house. Well, years went by and that's what they did. They started deconstructing this house. They started breaking it down. So when they would pull the paneling off the walls, when they started taking down the walls, this cabin, this tiny little cabin, was hidden inside their home. And that, to me, I mean, no, it's not an old toy for me to sniff, but wow, is that nostalgic? Wow, is that cool. So you might wonder, what am I doing here today? Well, I'm bringing you to a place. In Pennsylvania, we don't have pawn shops like they do in the South. Pawn shops here are very few and far between. But what we do have, what we are lucky enough to have here in Pennsylvania, are emporiums. And what they do is it's like an indoor flea market that's open all year round. And there's different vendors with different booths. That's what I'm here today to show you. We're in emporium country and I'm taking you to Janford and Sons, and it is going to be a blast. But first, before we do that, I want you to hear just a little bit of the history from the head of the Historical Society herself. Let's take a trip down the street. What do you say? I am in Mount Pleasant, just a little bit down. How far away are you from those log cabins?
About 2 blocks.
About 2 blocks down. And I'm here with Phyllis Mercero. And you work for the Historical Society, right?
Oh, I've been with them for a number of years.
What do you do there?
I do their research work.
Oh, wow. All the work. You do all the work then. That's a lot.
Well, what it is, a lot of people like to know who owned their house before them, who lived here, that type of thing. And I'm able to go back and I go back and find out who owned that house and who lived in there. And I go back as far as I possibly can.
Wow.
That's one of the things that I do, is research deeds and so forth.
So you spend a lot of time in the library, even at the town hall probably?
Well, it takes a good bit of time to do this.
Wow. Whenever I do this show, when I do Hunting Nostalgia, it's the other person that I want to show how neat I want to show how neat what you like to do is. Because this history, I'm not from Mount Pleasant, but I still find this extremely interesting. Just looking at those log homes, I cannot believe it. And you have a picture here, and I'm going to hold it up here because you told me this is actually the outer home. The actual log cabin itself is inside this home, right?
Correct.
Tell me just a little bit about that, because I tried to hit on it from conversations that I've had with my father-in-law, but I want to hear your story.
Well, the owner of the home was in Harmon House for a number of years, so the house had to remain standing with idle because she was in Harmon House, and they attach a lien to the house.
Oh.
And so we couldn't do anything. Well, we didn't even know anything about it until this young man was hired to tear the house down.
Oh my.
And when he tore the house down, he came into these logs, and it was the kitchen of the house. And it was the old original log cabin that had been added to make this home.
Oh my goodness.
And that's how they come across. So, well, instead of tearing it down, the Historical Society said, wait a minute, we'll buy it.
Oh my goodness.
And this is what we did. We bought the log cabin. And
it is beautiful. It is so neat to see that when you drive through town. It is amazing. I wonder how many other homes have other homes inside of them.
I'm sure there are other homes. I know we suspect there's one close by.
Oh, wow. That's a mystery. That's exciting. That's neat. That's really cool.
It belonged to my aunt and across the street.
Oh,
and
my.
I think the way we look at it, part of the home we believe is a log cabin, but we don't know that for sure.
But the
We're not
mystery
positive.
is still exciting.
It is.
Wow.
Well, Mount Pleasant is what we would have liked to have done. We have the senior citizens in the school building next door, and you have the Veterans Wall close by.
Yeah.
And we feel this is an attraction for the town because Main Street is well used. You know, people going to the mountain, people going to Seven Springs. A lot of people travel through Mount Pleasant.
You're right.
They have thousands of cars going through there every day. And I think this is a good thing for people to come down to town, through town, and see we have that doughboy. We have the Veterans Wall, which is beautiful.
It really is.
It really is. And I've been in Washington, D.C. and saw theirs, and ours is really, really nice too.
That's what I was going to say. It looks exactly like it. It's that nice.
Very similar.
Mount Pleasant is a very, very beautiful town. And I must say, produces very, very beautiful women. Jennifer, that my wife.
Your wife.
That's right. That's right. But wow, that is really, really neat. I appreciate you letting me come into your home and ask you about this. I told them that I was going to give them just a little bit of a glimpse of the history of Mount Pleasant, and you did a wonderful job. But I have to ask you a favor.
Yes.
Will you play us out? Will you play me a song? Remember, I knew it, and this is hunting nostalgia.
It's Megazord. When evil space aliens threaten Earth, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in their Dinozords morph to become the Megazord. The Megazord is part of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ultimate Battle System.
Hey, I thought you were driving. Me? I thought you were.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, too hot to handle.
Just a few steps down from the Historical Society and those two amazing log cabins is Janford and Son Emporium, right here on Main Street. The last time that I was here, I bought an absolutely amazing, and I am not joking you, a complete collection of Power Rangers toys. This is one of them. It was just the best one of the best collections that I have ever purchased in my entire life. I want to take you in to say hello to Jan before we look through her stuff, but first I want to show you a little bit of that collection of the Power Rangers toys I bought from Jan last time. You're going to see that right now. This weekend, I found and I purchased the most pristine, complete, amazing collection of Power Rangers items I've ever seen. I mean, you won't believe the stuff. This isn't even half of it. This isn't even half of the stuff. But what's so neat about this is it came with all of the original directions. Dragon Zord. Look, like, I wouldn't know how to put these things together. You know, I'd be busting things. Power Sword. And this is cool. Look, there's even unstuck stickers for a lot of them. For a lot of the Zords here. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Look, go ahead, turn it on. Turn it on.
Oops.
Look, Zordon works.
Zordan, whatever shall we do? Nick bought an entire collection and he's keeping it all!
Well, I think we better keep this one from his wife.
Here I am, one of my favorite places to see my friend Jan. I've known her for so long. Every single time that I visit my father-in-law, I gotta visit Jan too. Jan, I'm here.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good to see you.
Thanks for doing this for me.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate it so much. I'm not used to having camera with me.
Yeah.
When I do this.
No,
Whenever I do
you
my
usually come in and you're usually just browsing, finding something good.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I want you to tell me just a little bit about your store. Like, when did it start? Why
I'm going to be here 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Another lady had this building. She had it was called Saturday's Treasures, and she was upstairs and downstairs.
Oh.
And I started with just a small little booth upstairs. That's where I met you.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
you came in. The first thing you wanted was I had a 3-tier shelf, and you said it wasn't for sale, and you really wanted it because you wanted to display your wrestlers on it. And I said, oh, you into wrestling? And that's how we started talking, because I'm into wrestling.
And that's how our relationship started.
That was the very first thing. And I only had a booth for a couple months, and then she decided to retire.
Oh, my.
And she sold the building back to the VFW, and I asked them if they wanted to rent this out.
Oh, my gosh.
So I went from having a little booth upstairs
Oh, man.
to quitting my job of 25 years, and now I have this.
Oh, my goodness. Where'd you work before?
Cracker Barrel.
Oh, I love Cracker
Yeah,
Barrel.
I was a server there for 24 and a half years.
Wow, well, that's something. Well, there's something down this aisle here
Okay.
that
Well,
catches my eye.
I bet you I know what it is.
I know you do. But every time that I'm here, I find something new. And a lot of times, Jan will save
I
items for me.
saved some stuff for Nick.
And it makes me feel so good to have someone call me and say, Nick, I found something. And it reminds me of you. And that just means the world to me. Just that camaraderie, that relationship of collectors and people who understand that it doesn't have to be something that's worth $1 million to make it so special
You
for
get so
somebody.
excited.
But what I have is I have something I brought for you today.
Oh, I hope it's what I want. Oh, yes. All right, I got to tell you a story about this.
Please do.
I have a godson. Oh, he may be about 40 now. He's actually a doctor in California. And when he was 4 or 5 years old, he was into wrestling. And somebody wanted him to be in their wedding. And he did not want to be in their wedding. He refused. And they told him, if you're in our wedding, we'll buy you an Ultimate Warrior. And he was just talking to his mom a couple months ago, and he says, you know, I never got that Ultimate Warrior for being in their wedding.
What year was that wedding?
Oh, he's 40, probably 35 years ago. And I said, I'm going to ask Nick if he has an Ultimate Warrior, and I'm going to send this to California to him.
That is so cool. I love the fact that I'm able to even help you in that little bit.
That's great. That's the exact one I wanted too.
That is so funny.
He'll like that.
Oh,
He'll laugh because he has a good sense of humor.
That makes my day. That is wonderful. So right here we have down to the left a Officer Big Mac.
Yes.
And I love looking at this guy. Like every time I see this guy, I'm like, there has got to be a story. Look at how neat that is. Jen, where did you find this
Well,
guy?
there might be a little story behind that.
Okay.
I could say probably 1979 or 80.
Really?
I was in high school,
Oh boy.
and McDonald's used to be open 24/7, you know. And it might have been 3 o'clock in the morning. And he might have fell off the wall at McDonald's into my lap.
You saved him.
I saved him.
You saved this.
Yeah, I wrapped him up in my coat.
How neat is that?
And I've had him since then.
Oh my gosh, Jan, I love this place. You never ever know what you're gonna find here in Mount Pleasant. You really don't. But the thing is, the people in this town, they call it Helltown because the zip code is 15666. But the people here, like my father-in-law, like my wife and her sister and her brother, they love this town. They love this town. So the items that the people will accumulate, that's their history. And their history ends up here at Janford and Son.
You wouldn't believe the people that come in and looking for stuff that says L.E. Smith glass because their father, their grandfather, Lennox.
Yeah. Well, wait, Mount Pleasant, the first live-in furniture. The first live-in furniture was in Mount Pleasant.
Sure.
Oh my God. I get a history lesson of Mount Pleasant from my father-in-law, which I love because I can see his passion for his town. And I love that.
What's weird is my mother, who she passed away in 1979, was from Standard Shaft, which is just around the corner here.
No way.
So, and she worked for the Levins.
Nah.
And it's weird that I came back because I live in Greensburg. I'm from Greensburg.
Oh, really? You drive from Greensburg here every day? Oh my goodness. It's worth it. I don't care where you are. If you're around, come to Janford's. It's so awesome. I was just telling them about the Power Rangers. My son has not stopped playing with them. I can't believe
I saved something for Nick, and then Nick's like, oh, I love you so much. Never mind, I need them all. I can't break anything up, so he ends up buying everything.
They all got to stay together. They're a family. Speaking of families, I really appreciate it, Jan, so much. I'm going to talk to you before we leave, but look at these up here. You know who these remind me of? Elvira Taylor. Boy, I think she'd like those. You know what? Before I get on the hunt here, let's see what Elvira's up to today. What do you say?
Thanks, Nick. I'm Elvira from the Doll Circle, and this is my moment of nostalgia. And today I want to share a different place where I can find some of my fun retro items. So yes, there's yard sales, and I know that's one of Nick's favorite, and honestly, I love going to yard sales, but there's also my second favorite, which is thrift stores. Now, here in my area in Florida, I have a decent amount of Goodwills, Salvation Armies, and a lot of other independent thrift stores that I love to go and dig through, and sometimes I get lucky. Like last week, I'm going to share a few today with you guys that I found, and honestly, it's such a good deal, and it gave me so much joy to find them on the shelves. So finding used items are different. So you can go to, like I said, a yard sale and a thrift store. There's also pawn shops, but unfortunately, pawn shops don't like me filming in there, which I totally get because they have other people's items in there and people are pawning them. And so I get why, but unfortunately I can't film in a lot of pawn shops around here. So thrift stores are the second best location. And honestly, I actually find better deals and more unique items at thrift stores. So thrift stores have been around for a while. They have so many different kinds of thrift stores. Like I said, my favorites are like the independent ones because they tend to have a lot more unique or stranger items. And also like consignment shops are another good place to find weird and unique items as well. But for toys, I always find good thrift items. So last week I went to Goodwill because on my main channel, I actually try to post more thrift videos recently because I've just been finding so many cool things. This is Hot Looks Chelsea from the late 80s. Mattel made this doll with a soft body, and she's pretty tall. As you can see, she's an 18-inch, and this doll was in great condition. She was in a plastic bag, so you know when they were putting out the stuff at Goodwill, they knew that this doll was just not a basic ordinary new doll, that she had some cool retro to her. But I just love the molding on it. I love how she looks like somebody from Golden Girls. A little Rose moment, if you will. I just love the satin and the oversized sweater and the skirt and the lace, and she even had her shoes with her. Hot Looks, like I said, was a doll that was released in the late 80s by Mattel. It didn't last very long, unfortunately, but they are really unique in the sense that they are a full cloth body doll with a hard molding to it, which you don't really see too often. Now with more 18-inch dolls, you have like harder bodies and a harder face and sometimes only a soft torso. So this was a very different thing that Mattel was trying to do, because Mattel, of course, in the 80s was known for making Barbie and having those type of fashion dolls. So this was a very unique take for Mattel. Like I said, it didn't last very long, but I'm glad I got her, and I got her for only $5.99, which is such a good deal because even new she wasn't selling retail for $5.99. And like I said, she has her shoes, which in the doll world, as we know, if a doll comes with shoes, you gotta buy it because sometimes the shoes cost more than the doll if you try to find it later on. So yeah, this is one of my coolest finds last week. I love, look at even her like little lapel here. Oh my gosh, that's so adorable. Her hair is so curled in 80s and I love the little like lace bow in it. Someone took care of this Chelsea doll. And one of the other items I got is this Bratz dollhouse. I literally freaked out. These go for so much money online. It does need a lot of cleaning, and that is one thing when you go to a thrift store. Be prepared, you're probably gonna have to really clean whatever you buy really well because it's been sitting in someone's garage for a long time. And to give you a little bit of thrift history, Salvation Army is dated back to start in 1897, which is wild. Over, I mean, what is that, 125 years ago or more? Now, before they were called thrift stores, they were called charity shops because these places would take unwanted items, refurbish them, clean them up, and then resell them, and then they would go to a particular charity. One of the oldest ones dated back that at least I could find in my research was, and I'm gonna say this probably wrong, Staffordshire, England, and it was for the Society of the Blind. And so they would go to these charity events. So that's where Salvation Army kind of came in, and then they started in 1897 doing kind of that same model where they would take unwanted items, sell them, and then it would go to charity. Now, thrift stores now have very much changed over the years, going into like Goodwill, and then obviously a lot of independent ones. Like one of my favorite ones is OMG Thrift here in Florida. Oh my gosh, like so big, and they always have a ton of toys. Now, also fun fact, they weren't always called thrift stores or charity shops. Thrift actually comes from junk shops, which doesn't sound as pleasant if you want to go shopping to find things. It's like, let's go to the junk shop. So they ended up changing the name from junk to thrift because it was more appealing to a lot of the households in the 50s and 60s that were wanting to furnish their house but maybe didn't have the funds to buy something new. Obviously going to a junk shop doesn't sound as cool as going, hey, let's go thrifting. And then, like I said, Salvation Army was first in 1897, but Goodwill started in 1902. So all these shops, like I said, have been around for a while. Now I want to show you more of some of the fun stuff I find at thrift stores. I got this doll right here. She's unfortunately having a bad day. She's a strung doll, so she has string in her, and as you can see, she's it needs to be restrung. This is from MGA in 2009, and it's called BFC, or Best Friends Club. And same way as Chelsea, did not last very long in the doll world, and her hair is super wild, but she's so pretty, and I had to get her. She was $7.99, which is a little bit more. I try to always get a lot of my thrift dolls for like $5 or less, especially if they need some work done, but I've never seen one of these out in the wild, and I had to just go pick her up, and I think she's so sweet. Now with thrifting, whether you find something new that literally just came out a year ago at a thrift store, or you found something that came out 30 years ago, thrift stores are a really fun way to find some unique items, and it's always a treasure hunt because unlike going to like Target or Walmart where you kind of know like, okay, I'm probably gonna find a new Barbie there, thrift stores, you never know what you're gonna find. So make sure to check out all of my social media at The Doll Circle, and I'll talk to you guys next time for my moment of nostalgia. Back to you, Nick.
Booth number 354 at Janford is one of my favorite stops. One of my favorite stops, number one, because of the prices. Everything is priced well here, everything. But this booth is where they have the toys, the stuff that I am after. And she was right, here we go. Look at this. We have a White Ranger Power Sword for $1.50. All the parts still there. How cool is that? Like, I'm taking this home. My son, he will add this to the already amazing collection of Power Ranger stuff that I purchased from Jan. Look, we have the 1987 Ghostbusters car. I can't remember if this was April's car. I know it looks like a praying mantis when it pops. I don't know how it pops.
I just keep smacking it.
Oh, there we go. Look, praying mantis pops up. How neat is that? It's so cool, you know? And then you come here and you see the price. 12 bucks. That's even cooler. Toys for toy prices. You don't have to get on eBay or wherever you purchase items from, which I don't mind. If that's how people collect, if that's how you're able to get that feeling of nostalgia, that's great. That's awesome. Like, I've had guys explain to me before, like, whenever I order from eBay or I order from Amazon, I open my door and right there are packages for me, just like Christmas morning. That's awesome. You're achieving that same feeling from your couch that I achieve scavenging through attics, crawling through basements, getting covered in bird poop in barns, but that's what I'm after. Not the bird poop, but I'm after that experience. I'm after that hunt, because every item, I have thousands of items, thousands. Just ask my wife. I have thousands of items, hundreds of collections, and there is not one item. And I am so proud to say there is not one item from any collection that I have that came from online shopping. I found every item myself.
Spangler, this lab is spooky. Vankerman, it's ahead. It's full speed ahead. What an eyeful. Let's split. Great car. Yikes, it's Harry Hunter.
The real Ghostbusters eat sold separately.
Well, like I always say, it's the saddest part of the day. I'm done shopping.
Leaving. Oh.
But I know that I'll be back.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'll be back. I know that. I know that.
Every time I visit my father-in-law, I got to stop at Jan's,
yes,
honestly.
You do.
But another thing I wanted to mention before we left here is that you have a lot of local people who make items, who make delicious. I will tell you this right now. I have had this. I haven't had the other items, but I have had this 2 Ugly Mugs salsa. It's the best salsa in the entire world. There is nothing, it is absolutely delicious. I have to leave here with a jar every single time. And you said that the barbecue sauce is just as good.
Barbecue sauce, this is Buddha, he's local.
Oh,
so neat. Local soap that one of our vendors makes.
Oh my gosh.
This honey, the hives are in my backyard.
No way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you do this?
No, I don't. The guy has his hives in our backyard, yeah.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's really local.
Oh my gosh, what don't you do? So, I've come here before and you have had about 80 pounds worth of McDonald's toys.
Oh, yes, yes.
I have come here and you sold me a collection of Power Rangers toys that is unimaginable.
Yes.
I showed that earlier.
I heard your son likes them, enjoys them.
He loves them. We are moving in the middle of a move and he was allowed to bring a few toys. Megazord was one of them.
Oh, good.
But I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate your friendship. I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
And will you tell people if they're interested in getting a booth, how would you do that?
Sure. Just come in, look around, let me know what size you like. They range in prices. It goes by square foot, and there's a little percentage at the end of the month of your sales. I'm on a waiting list right now, but people, you never know when people leave and go, and I love people that sell vintage. I love people that sell anything.
And after they watch this episode on television, you're not going to be able to get through the door. You're going to be waiting in line.
Come on in. We'll find you something.
That's right. Well, hey, keep watching the Armstrong Neighborhood channel. Keep watching Hunting Nostalgia, and they have other great local programming on there as well, like Ohm Sweet Ohm, The Butler Buzz, and Up for Adoption. Thanks for watching Hunting Nostalgia, and Jan, thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
This is Hunting Nostalgia. My cousins, Megan, Jennifer, and Kathleen, they had this when little kids. They had doctor sets. That's what they played with. Now, my cousin Megan is a doctor. My mom purchased me wrestlers. Now I'm a toy sniffing weirdo on TV.
Yeah, you thought people were gonna be like, I'm a wrestler.
No.
Definitely not. Not with that physique.
I could have been. I'm not tall enough is the problem.
Yeah.
Today, I am in very historic Mt.Pleasant, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania.
Where are you at? You idiot! Quit wasting my time. I don't know. He said something. Blah blah
Pennsylvania.
blah. I'm a moron.
Do you have your mic on?
This is my first day of doing this.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Do you have your mic on, right?
Of course
Okay,
I have my mic. How is anyone else going to hear that I'm such a jerk?
That was perfect.